the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Goodell.
Here.
Slater.
Here.
Scholl.
Here.
Rusher.
Here.
Davis.
Here. Need a motion to approve the agenda as printed.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
I have a motion to approve the minutes of the February 2nd, 2015 regular council meeting.
Move to
The
approve.
2015 budget planning meeting and the February 4th, 15 budget meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Need a motion to approve the January investment report and the January treasurer's report.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
A motion to approve the claims for January.
Move to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Communications, public input. People's Service monthly report.
Well, we do have hired our sixth person now, started for us for Seth Ninclaw. He's gonna work out pretty good. You know, let's see, at the wastewater plant, kind of froze up on 2 clarifiers out there again. Hopefully the weather will break here before long. And we did put a new, what's called a motherboard up down the main lift station. The heat exchanger, heat went out on it. We got that replaced, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I think it was. It's one of those electronic deals that just goes out, so. The water plant, we're still working through the punch list with Fox. I think Lance is gonna be up here this week, was it Thursday? Did you get an email? I think to go over a few items. I had a conference call today with CBI and to iron out the valve at the North Tower. The Protec guy, Vesco, was on too. They're gonna send somebody down, hopefully this next week or so. And it's just a matter of them reprogramming it. It over-torques a little bit from time to time when it closes. And there's a couple little automatic systems was on the going through. There's a couple little wiring issues up there with them that they're going. The engineer said, do it this way. They did, and then they said, no, change it back. So, but that actually went really good. So it doesn't sound like too big of a deal. We had 2 main breaks in January. Probably know up here at 5th Street North, 2nd Avenue North, right at the intersection, and then up the southwest part of town too. They were both 4-inch mains, and we'll be fixing another 4-inch tomorrow up on Oak Hill up there in the southwest, there on that double
5th Avenue Southwest.
west,
Is that?
yeah.
Yeah, I thought that's the address I read.
So we're hoping what it did was about 30 feet down from the manhole, or up from the manhole, it was coming through the ground, and we're hoping it just traveled through, followed the pipe, went up and that way, but we're gonna be starting on that tomorrow. And then, like I told you, the gents is gonna get going on that valve this next week too, up in the Humboldt Drive, so. But, let's see, what else? Out at the wastewater plant, we had automatic systems out. There was one of the sludge blowers, where the sludge blower kept alarming, runs fine in that. Found out there's a little computer board up in the control panel that went bad, so that got here today, so hopefully they'll be down sometime this week or next week to get that repaired, so. But, other than that, just, keeps plugging away, so.
Did you have a couple pumps that needed to be repaired or replaced out at the,
Oh, we sent down, yeah, that,
what was that about?
the big main lift station that we're scheduled maintenance to do, the number 2 lift. We got that sent down to Des Moines. They replace all the bearings, rackings, and just go through the whole thing. And then another return pump out at the wastewater plant had the same thing.
is that
So-
like on a scheduled
Yeah,
type of
budgeted in
maintenance
every
program?
year. Yep. And now this next fiscal year, we'll do the number 3 one down there, and then also do the number 3 one out the wastewater plant, return pump. And those will all be gone through and should be good do it all over again. So,
I was looking at your notes there now. When you budget like your chemicals and maintenance, you're running about 72% of the budgeted items right now versus, I think it said like 58% of the time for the fiscal year. Now, do you sit down and make that out or consult Aaron as far as, or any of that on that? Or how does that?
try to get an idea. Of course, everything goes up, every year, but we still need it to, keep the water at its, the quality, the good quality we do have, so, but it's just kind of an ongoing thing, it just kind of up, so.
Yeah, we've looked at some different things, and we've run into issues with pin flock or whatever staying in, and especially now with the turbidity requirements that we have. If we had any higher turbidity, we'd be thrown into
Yeah, it'd be
oil order on it.
well, yeah, it'd be an automatic violation, you've got 15 minutes to correct it, so we found out some of the chemicals were just gonna leave the same because they work good with that, especially under this new turbidity rules and that. Because like I said, we have 15 minutes to correct it, which is, and basically all it is lime that gets away and floats up and then it picks it up, but the DNR doesn't look at it that way. It's just automatic violations, no questions asked, so we increased that a little bit to try and, so we don't get a violation, so.
What, do you have an alarm that goes off down there and it's
Yeah,
monitored all the
yep,
time and
yep,
somebody's
yep,
right there to
yep,
correct the flow of ingredients
Yep.
or chemicals and stuff like that?
Yeah, we traditionally are a little high on chemical usage. I think that budget honestly has needed to be adjusted for probably about 4 or 5 years because as costs have increased, I think we've kept it about the same, and we've tried to swap out different things. One, I know you guys would probably remember this. We had a conversation about dropping fluoride out at some point because that's, I think that would save like $30,000 or $40,000 if we dropped it out, but. The consensus of the council at that point was not to drop out the fluoride. We've looked at some different things, but I think when we go to, we're going to have another people service contract negotiation and getting that re-signed, and at that point, I think you build in whatever the updated budget numbers are into that updated contract because they do need to be increased. You look year over year, it's always like 20%.
Over what's budgeted?
20 to 30, depending on what the costs are on lime.
Right, everything.
Sodium aluminate?
Sodium aluminate.
Getting better at this, actually. Another chemical.
I just noticed that there was quite a bit of higher water usage in this January versus January of last year.
Yep.
Was that because
The
of
leaks.
the breaks?
The leaks, yep. So hopefully we've got 2, now we've got the other one, so hopefully after this one, maybe no slow downward trend, hopefully, so, it's directly to the leaks, so.
Is there any point on our treated water where if it sits and it's tested later on that it still has the chemicals in it? This is just kind of a side question.
Yeah,
I mean,
part of the
or if it's
chemicals are, yeah,
filtered through sand, I mean, does that
they do go,
remove?
the final process does go through the filters,
Mhm.
and that takes anything out, and basically it's the chemicals are added in to bond with the hardness of the water, which drops out, and then that goes to the slurry tank, and runs through the lime press, and that, and then it, like I says, goes through the filters after that, so pretty much all that, it's gone out of there, so. We do the.
Okay, so how do you
several
determine
tests.
between groundwater and city water if someone has a leak in their basement?
We can test the fluoride in
Okay.
it, is what we do.
And that's my question, that's actually my question. If-
Oh, okay, yeah, we can-
Would the fluoride ever be removed at any reason? Will it
Fluoride
dissipate?
stays in the water.
It won't dissipate
It
at all?
doesn't dissipate that
And
much.
it
A little, but
doesn't
not
make any
much.
difference what you run it
Yeah,
through?
The natural fluoride, I think, in there runs up 0.25 to 8, and ours is up 0.68, 0.72 in there, so we can definitely tell groundwater or yep, it's city water.
And there's no way to remove that, the fluoride itself?
Stop using it. I
Okay.
mean, that's the only way to get rid of it.
You can't filter it through any media or
You
anything
can
like
go
that?
through in a whole different system, like an RO system, but that require a whole new concept. So,
Get somebody with
Yes.
water in there.
Anyone have anything else?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Clint.
Clint.
Under new business, discuss education for youth and adults on preventing drug, alcohol, gambling, and tobacco addiction. And we have someone here that wants to do that. Monica.
Good evening. My name is Monica Mathis, and I am a prevention specialist with Community and Family Resources, and we're out of Berkshire City. And what I do is we're a health organization, and I go and I educate the youth and the adults on the health effects of substance, alcohol, and tobacco usage. And what this evening I would like to talk to you about is binge drinking, and associated with that is our TIPS training, which is training for intervention procedures, which is a training program. Binge drinking is defined as having 5 to 6 drinks if you are a male and 4 to 5 drinks if you are a female in a 2-hour period. And what this does, it doesn't give the liver adequate time to filter the alcohol out of your system. So your tissues and your blood get saturated, which can cause coma and death if not medically treated right away. So, and what we're doing with that is we're doing a TIPS training, which the TIPS is a way for us to impact the binge drinking rates and therefore decrease the related consequences that are related to the binge drinking. The training is for anyone who serves or sells alcohol, so all the local businesses and all the bars and restaurants that are around in the Humboldt community, around Humboldt County. And what this training does is it enhances the customer service skills that we all know that the bartenders and the waiter and waitresses already have. It just enhances it. And then it also teaches them about behavioral cues, which will give them the knowledge they need to know if somebody is overly intoxicated or is drinking in excess. So what that does is it makes the bar and the restaurant safer, and it makes a safer community because you're going to enable your servers to stop somebody from sitting there and drinking all day, and then they get intoxicated, which can lead to other problems, such as drinking and driving or fights that might break out, which can put the other customers at risk of getting hurt or injured. It also lets them look at what it's like to view what's on a driver's license, so they know how to know if it's fake or not. And I know that technology is out there. It's really hard to fake an ID, but it is possible if you have the knowledge and if you have the software to do it. So this just takes you, everybody in the staff takes it through and teaches them what to look for, what's on the driver's license, how to know if it's fake, how to know what's on a government-issued one. So it's just a really good training procedure that we take all of the bartenders and waiter and waitresses through. What I'm here to do today is I'm not asking you to change any laws or any policies or nothing. What I'm asking you as business owners, as friends, as neighbors, as police officers, as anybody that's in this room, I'm asking you to partnership with me. So if somebody comes up to Aaron or to John or to Daryl and says, I'm having trouble with my bar, we keep having people come in from out of town that are underage, they're causing a lot of problems within my bar, what do I do? I'm giving you the ability to have the knowledge and to have my business cards and to have our TIPS training information, to hand them a business card and say, I had a young lady in here from Community and Family Resources. They do a TIPS program which will help you diminish the problems that you are having. It'll take down some of your liability insurance that you have to have because you sell alcohol. And in some cases, if you call the insurance companies, they will drop some of the dram shop insurance. And that way, we as a partnership are seeing the needs of your community to make it safer within the community as well as within the bars and within the bars in the surrounding areas. Are there any questions?
So were you proposing on putting like a workshop together, Monica, and then just opening up to like whoever serves or sells alcohol and having them come to this? Or
We give the information to the different bar owners, and I have done this within Humboldt and the surrounding communities, and we ask them if they want to do a training session with us. And I think a lot of bartenders or a lot of bar owners are reluctant to do it just because they have to pay their staff extra time in order to get this organized. So that's why I came here to ask you, so you know about it, So if you hear of any trouble, that might be, because you guys are gonna know your community, I'm not, because I'm not part of your community. I have relatives that are in the community, but I don't have direct relations with it. So you guys are gonna know if some bartenders or some bar owners are having problems within their immediate business. So then you'll have, I have the information with me that I will leave on the back table if anybody would like to take something with them, so they can pass it off if they hear of anybody that might need our services. And, you know, if you know of anybody that needs, you know, anything else, then we're not just a prevention organization, we're also counseling. We also have a counselor within our organization in Webster City that takes people that need help within it. But you guys are just kind of my first line defense, because you know more about what's going on in your community than I do.
Do you know which insurance companies consider this training as?
No, we tell the bar owners that they will have to call their insurance companies to talk to them if it's worth them doing the training or not. And there's also possibilities of getting a hold of the local newspaper and having a publicity picture on the front page with everybody that's gone through it. So it's also positive reinforcement to all the business owners, because they're making their establishment and as well as the community safer for everybody. But no, I don't say it will, I just tell them that you have to call your insurance company because there might be a bit of a discount if you go through the training process. And it's a 4-hour training process, which can be broken down into 2 different sessions. And we make it very convenient for everybody. We can either come to their establishment or they can come to ours, whatever. And we can combine bars. So if there's like smaller bars in the community or in the surrounding communities, we can ask one bar to be like a host bar and then just do it all at once. So you can do 4 or 5 different bars all at the same time. So we try not to make it inconvenient for anybody. We're just trying to help.
Are you a state-funded organization, or?
We're a nonprofit, so we get paid by grants, and we have to write out grants, and each thing that we do is a different grant. So drugs and alcohol is comp, which is a comp grant that goes out, that's our main grant. And we have a tobacco grant, a gambling north and south grant, and that just depends on the communities that you're in. I cover Humboldt, Hamilton, and Wright, and then my colleague has his 3, and then we share Webster County. And we do different activities, different preventions, different educational. Too Good for Drugs, I'm putting into the Eagle Grove Elementary. That's under our comp grant. And I've done presentations here also for the middle school and high school about the uses of alcohol. It's just small. I just come in once every 7 weeks and show the classes what the effects are of drinking it. And we have beer goggles, kind of gives them the idea of what it's like without actually being drunk. We try to make it educational, but we try to make it interactive as well, because most kids learn that way. If you make it a lot of interactive activities, then they're more apt to sit there and listen to you than if you sit there and drone on about whatever you're talking about. So it gets them up and moving. So I'm just asking for your partnership in making your community safer, and I'm here to help.
Any other questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Next, we need a motion to approve a renewal of a Class C liquor license for Fireside Restaurant and Lawn Incorporated, doing business as Fireside.
Everything in order? Yep.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we need a motion to approve the renewal of an Adopt a Highway permit for the 7 O'Clockers, Kiwanis Club of Iowa, Highway 3, from mile post 126.3 to mile post 129.3.
This is actually, I think it's the first time I've had one of these come in front of me.
I didn't know they had to have a permit.
I didn't know they had to have a permit either. And I normally sign off on a lot of right-of-way permits for access easements and whatnot, but this one they require that the council sign off on. I can't imagine why you would say no, but
Right.
Mike Worthington brought it before the council to get approved. And it's kind of the section right next to, I guess.
It's out by the country club.
Yeah, west of Highway 31610.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. The next item is discuss city administrator annual evaluation process and potential implementation.
Councilman Scholl asked that we discuss the process. I think it'd be valuable input for me to improve my performance, and I'm also working on getting the performance evaluations for the department heads in place. One of the things that we discussed, and it's from feedback from the council on how to proceed, but one of the things that I talked to the councilman about was going with a 360 evaluation, which is essentially up to the council, the mayor, down to the department heads, and then out to community members that I work with closely, like, board of supervisors, school superintendent, various commissions like building families, planning and zoning board of adjustment. That way it provides a kind of a all-inclusive view of what the job is, and so I can get feedback from every angle. And so, do you want to?
Well, it's just a conversation that Aaron and I had after the last council meeting a couple weeks ago, and just thought it would be a valuable tool to use. I mean, we all have our impression on what the job Aaron is doing, but, maybe some other folks have some valuable input to help us kind of evaluate on the job that Aaron's doing. I just think it's something that's done on a regular basis in most every other business. I'm sure, Brent, you do it. I mean, you've talked about it doing it with Sisters, and awarding, good attendance or something like that, with a trip to Okoboji or something like that. I mean, we all do it with our personal investment counselors. We always get a year-end review, or our insurance agents or something like that. So I just thought, and I think Aaron did comment that it's been, 2011 since maybe your last?
11 or 12. Yeah.
11 or 12
Somewhere
since
around
his
there.
last review evaluation. So, I just think it would be useful in getting some outside input on how Aaron is conducting himself, representing the city through these other organizations and things like that. So, and I would volunteer to, spearhead like whatever legwork that needed to be done, and so I would just kind of.
Are you talking about us doing an evaluation? Or are you talking about,
Well, we would be part of it.
are you talking about putting it out to the community?
No.
Evaluation?
No, just the 5 council members, the mayor, and then we would open it up to like the department heads, street, sanitation, park, those folks there. I think maybe we talked about possibly Gloria and Sierra and the fire department. And then I think we talked about possibly Eric Eady with the city attorney, and then some of the boards that Aaron is on, the Humboldt County Development and the Housing Association and those types of things. Not the community at large, John. I mean, people that,
Right.
would have actual interaction with Aaron on these other organizations that would have some valuable input into, his job performance and his representation of the city on those.
Are you comfortable with that, Aaron?
I think,
Because I know in my workplace, I would not be comfortable with having my customers have to evaluate me, and everybody that I work with have to evaluate me.
Yeah. Well, it's, the reason that a lot of cities have gone to this sort of process is because, you as the council, have limited interaction with me. Maybe, on a, if you're really, really active, you come in, maybe 3 times a week at, and that's as much conversation as most of the time we have, or at council meetings and things like that. And so the reason that a lot of cities have gone to this sort of review process is that it gives you, you as the body that's in charge of managing my performance and the administration of the city, an idea to, what sort of interactions in my capacity of leading the administration of the city, what sort of interactions am I having on your behalf, as far as, my management styles, my, work in, the various nonprofit groups I work with, the work that I have with boards and commissions, so that you get that feedback and then you can guide me in what you think is important. And obviously, sometimes there's certain things, like you said, there's certain things that sometimes you gotta take with a grain of salt. Not everything's gonna always be
Some
roses.
Melville one.
But I think that it's, I think that it's a good process. I've heard I go to several conferences and whatnot that talk about the different ways to try and provide feedback to people who are in positions where, they've got several different tasks and maybe it's not a direct supervisor position. For instance, the department heads, one of the reasons I would want to go to a 360 evaluation with them is because most of the time those guys are out, working with, the streets department's out with the streets. They're plowing, they're in the trucks, doing things like that. Parks, same thing. It's library, same thing. It's all very distant from City Hall. It's not a situation where, I'm sitting in this desk and you're sitting 10 feet away from me and I can see everything you do. So, and how you manage and everything like that. So it's just a way to get a better picture. I don't think that, 360 evaluations are by any means a magic bullet. A lot of people swear that they're the best thing that's ever happened as far as management. I think that there's a lot of ways that they can be misused in a way that it can create divisive issues within an organization. But I think as long as it's done in a positive manner, it gives people an opportunity to give feedback that they might not normally provide. And, as long as everybody goes into it with a positive attitude, I think we'll see good results from it. If that's not the case, you can always go to a different health evaluation style, in future years.
As long as you're comfortable with it, that's fine.
Yeah.
Next, under resolutions. Resolution 2015-10, approving pay estimate number 1 from North Central Iowa Service LLC, in the amount of $23,611.77 for low-pressure sanitary sewer extension project.
Actually, Nick's here. I don't know if do you want to come talk about some of the projects and give a quick update, or?
I can, you guys have some questions on some, sure.
Yeah. I mean, let me just, real quick, the project, this is the low-pressure sanitary sewer project right next to the water tower on the north side. The project's complete outside of some seeding, and when the weather improves this spring, MS & Sons has started construction on the building, and Midas is working on submitting the grant for the bus barn. So that's moving along, I guess.
Yeah, on this project, I think it went overall pretty well. They had a few issues out there with it, but nothing they couldn't overcome. Some water service lines mostly that they managed to hit. So overall, when the weather changes, they got plenty of cleanup to do out there. Some cleanup, some markings to do, some gravel to place.
Mm-hmm.
And, after that, then we can move on, closing the project. Just some simple punch list items right now for this one.
I know on Hovey,
Yep,
Hovey's project on the hill, that's
still in punch list till the weather changes.
Yeah.
Waiting on some documentation from him yet on a couple other things on it, and then just for him to complete the punch list, which it's a pretty decent one, actually. A lot of cleanup to do, some concrete, some sidewalk to replace. No change from the last time, we really discussed it. So weather changed right about in November there when we were here previously about it. So.
And then one of the things is the road project. We did get some numbers back from Blacktop on
Yes.
some different sections. I did not get those on this council meeting. We'll have to consider them at the next council meeting. It's a few additions of areas that have been problematic.
Yep.
Where are we on the Jetco project up there on getting a drain put in? Was that part of Blacktop Service also, on the street project?
We just pulled it out and got it over to Wunsch because it wasn't moving along over there.
Right.
And so we got the numbers to Wunsch. I don't know.
And Reddings, we haven't heard
Reddings.
anything back from both. I expected it today from Reddings gravel.
Mhm.
I didn't get it today. I'll touch base with them tomorrow to